Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Muhammad Thariq HAFIZULLAH bin Muhammad SHUKRI, and my metric number is 1211842. Uh, and today I am representing my group from group 16, and uh, I will make an infographic poster presentation regarding Imam Ibn Majid. So first thing first, let's talk about his early life. His name is Shihabuddin Ahmad bin Majid bin Amr ad-Duwaik bin Yusuf bin Hassan bin Hussein bin Abi Ma'laq as-Sa'di bin al-Raqaib al-Najdi. He is one of the greatest and most illustrious Arab navigators and cartographers of all times. It is referred to him as the master of astrological navigation and lion of the seas. He was born in Ras Al Khaimah, which was then known as Julfar, in 1421. Now let's move to his expertise. He had a very broad knowledge in navigation skills, in geography, in astronomy, and he was an expert in Arabic literature. Next, let's talk about his contributions. So, he is one of the compiler of seafaring manuals. He also invented a mariner's compass. And then, let's talk about his books. He has many works, and one of the greatest one is Kitab al-Fawaid fi usul al-ilm al-Bahr wal-Qawaid. And also Kitab al-Urjuza and Hawiyat, which is a poem. So now, let's talk a bit about his work. Ibn Majid wrote several books on marine science and the movements tak nampak apa-apa ke bro? Macam mana ni? Bilang balik. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My name is Muhammad Thariq Abdullah bin Muhammad SHUKRI, and my metric number is 1211842. So today I am representing my group members from group 16, and I will make an infographic poster presentation regarding Imam Ibn Majid. So let's talk about his early life. His name is Shihabuddin Ahmad bin Majid bin Amr ad-Duwaik bin Yusuf bin Hassan bin Hussein bin Abi Ma'laq as-Sa'di al-Raqaib al-Najdi. He is one of the greatest and most illustrious Arab navigators and cartographers of all time. It is referred to him as the master of astrological navigation and lion of the seas. He was born in Ras Al Khaimah, which was then known as Julfar, in 1421. Now let's talk about his expertise. So he had a very broad knowledge about navigation skills, about geography, about astronomy, and he such an expert in Arabic literature. He also had many contributions for the Ummah. He is one of the compiler of seafaring manuals, and he also invented mariner's compass, and he also had many great works. He had many books, and the greatest book he ever wrote is Kitab al-Fawaid fi usul al-ilm al-Bahr wal-Qawaid, and also Kitab al-Urjuza and also Al-Hawiyat, which is a poem. So now let's talk about uh, his works, a little bit of his works. Ibn Majid wrote several books on marine which helped people of the Persian Gulf to reach the coast of India, East Africa, and other destinations. Among his many books on navigation, Kitab Al-Fawaid fi Usul Ilm Al-Bahr wal-Qawaid, which is the book of the benefits of the principles and foundations of seamanship, is considered one of his best. It is an encyclopedia describing the history and basic principles of navigation, latitude, longitude, by way of celestial navigation, lunar mansions, lexodromes, the difference between coastal and open sea sailing, the locations of ports from East Africa to Indonesia, accounts of the monsoon and other seasonal winds, typhoons, and other topics for professional navigators. He drew from his own experience and that of his father, also a famous navigator, and the law of generations of Indian Ocean sailors. The book encompassed the entire science of navigation in the Indian Ocean at the time. Ibn Majid was known as a mu'allim, which is a teacher of navigation. Most of his navigational calculations depended on sophisticated astronomical observations, especially using the lunar mansions. So Ibn Majid had a really big history and a really big legacy. Although Ibn Majid was long held to have helped the Portuguese navigator Vasco da Gama cross from Africa to the Indian subcontinent, contemporary research has shown that he would have been in his 70s at the time of the Gama's trip. The actual pilot who sailed with Da Gama was a Gujarati and may have returned to Portugal with Da Gama. The man was provided to Da Gama by the ruler of Malindi and was assumed by Da Gama and his men to be a Christian. He guided Da Gama's ships to Mount Ali on the Indian coast after a 23-day voyage. Researchers also used the three ratas of Ibn Majid, particularly the Sofala rata, to comprehensively debunk the entire story of Ibn Majid and any association with Da Gama. The evidence in these letters, written by Da Gama himself and Ibn Majid's age, all provide a strong refutation of the entire story, and it is now accepted as highly unlikely that Ibn Majid had ever even met Da Gama, let alone given him the route to India. However, his printed works are thought to have been a valuable source for the Portuguese when they arrived in the region. Remembered as the Lion of the Sea, Ibn Majid's true legacy was the substantial body of literature on navigation that he left behind. Arab sailing was at the pinnacle during Ibn Majid's lifetime, when both Europeans and Ottomans had only a limited understanding of geography in the Indian Ocean. His Kitab Al-Fawaid was widely utilized by Arab sailors and comprised celestial navigation, weather patterns, and charts of dangerous areas in which to sail. This tome, in addition to his poetic works, were the true legacy of the sailor. Two of Ibn Majid's famous handwritten books are now prominent exhibits in the Bibliothèque Nationale de France. Now let's take a look at one of his quotes. His quote sound like this: فَإِنْ يَجْهَلُوا قَدْرَ حَيَاتِي فإنما تباني رجال بغيكم يعرف قراري. So that's all from me for the infographic poster presentation regarding Imam Ibn Majid, and thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.